Like I would read every day before bedtime and so on. So I read it quite a lot. And then leading up to the surgery, I would of course read it, and I brought the book to the hospital as well and so on. So I remember what happened during like after anesthesia, during the wake up. I just remember thinking I was a space marine, and I kept trying to get up from the bed and like, move aside, heretics. I need to kill the infidels, and like I need to kill the Heens and Xenos and like random shit. And they had to like push me down and hold me down because I kept trying to get up. Yeah, it was so fucking weird. It's really a shame nobody was there to film it, but yeah. Luckily, it seems like nothing happened. Oh, I need to do it the other way, I see. Item is currently equipped. And that, oh my fucking god, so many rules. Can I see what happened to it? I don't know what I got out of corrupting that. Find a way through this area, sure. After the surgery, I had a tube connected to my lower back, which injected me with some kind of painkiller. So shortly after I woke up, like a nurse came and they had to test how well it worked. And keep in mind, my surgery was for my lower back. So the way they tested it was she took an ice cube and then she would place it on like the right side of my chest, upper chest, and then she would ask if I could feel that. Like, no, I couldn't feel that. Then the other side, can I feel that? No. And then she moved it down a little bit. And can I feel that? No, I couldn't feel that, and so on. And then when we got to basically my stomach area, which is, if you know anatomy, the opposite side of your lower back. Then when she did it and started asking, can I feel it? Yeah, I can feel it there. She was like, huh, that's weird. Because that's where the like painkiller should work. But let's just leave it in and hope it still affects you somehow. And it's like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, what's the worst that can happen? I then later learned that that type of painkiller, whatever medicine, it made me nauseous as hell, and it made me super sensitive to the world. So when they took me from, like, what is it called, like the area where you wake up, observation or whatever, and moved me to like the room I was supposed to be in, I just threw up the entire fucking way. And everything was just terrible. It was the worst, like, 5 minutes being moved around in a bed I've ever tried. And then getting up there, it was just, as soon as I tried moving around, I would just feel nauseous and I would start throwing up. And I remember, like, just the lights, my bed would be right next to the window, and the lights coming in from outside, like from the window, it would make me nauseous and I would start throwing up, and it would give me a headache and so on. So I closed the curtains, so it wouldn't happen. And of course, when I had to get up to do it, you can probably guess what happened. But I had like these bags that you do it in, and they have milliliter measurements, so they can see how much goes out and how much comes in, so they can keep track of what they need to feed you or don't feed you, and how dehydrated you might be and so on. So they kept track of how much I was throwing up and so on. It's all good, it's gravy. And they also keep track of how much I feed and so on. That's cool. So anyway, I had pulled the curtain for, and then this boomer nurse came, and I was like, oh, it's so dark in here, let's open the curtains. And then she threw open the curtains, and I started vomiting everywhere immediately. And then she was like, oh, that's weird. And I told her, well, the lights make me nauseous, can you please close it? No, you're being silly. Like, it's good for you, the sun is good for you, like, it will help you heal and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, are you leaving the room now so I can close them again? Yeah, I'm leaving now. Okay, then she left, and I got up and closed them again. I think some, hopefully very few, but some nurses and like medical personnel, like, they just get desensitized to what people tell them and what people are feeling, just because they see so many hypochondriacs or people who do whatever they can to avoid like not being comfortable and some pain and so on. Yeah, it was terrible. So over the next 3 days, I tried to convince the doctors and the nurses to take out the painkiller, because it wasn't really doing it. Like, the ice cube test had kind of proven it didn't really do shit for me, except for making me nauseous, which I wasn't enjoying particularly. So I tried to convince them, like, please just fucking take it out, and they wouldn't really do that. They were very hesitant to do it because maybe it's working. Like, we don't really know if it might work, and if we pull it out, then at least then we can guarantee it's not working. I'm like, yeah, I can kind of get the logic, but right now all the test shows it's not working, and I'm throwing up all the fucking time. I'm not enjoying it. Can we just take it off? And then they started lowering the dose over a day or so, and I couldn't feel any difference every time they did it. And then when it was down to 0 at some point, they took it out. And I just thought it was like if this is like my skin, then I thought it would be like just right in, so it wouldn't be too far. But when they pull it out, it was like 20 centimeters of hose that was inside my bag, so I could just feel it like moving out. And let me tell you, it's a weird fucking feeling, having like 20 centimeter hose being pulled out from your bag. Yeah, it was definitely an experience. And that's not even talking about like the catheter when they removed that, or the hose or whatever, the tube I had in my neck as well. That's yeah. It was fun times. That's to experience. So the doctors really wanted me to stay for like a week or 2 or something, just to observe and make sure nothing too foggy was going on. But after 3 days of trying to deal with them and not feeling great, I was done with my hospital stay. What is this? Wait, do I choose one? Oh, so I I shouldn't have looted something without reading everything. Okay. Tank. Okay, so that's how it works. Yeah, so after 3 days after major back surgery, I went home to my own apartment and I lived alone. And then after being there for like a day and just laying in the bed and be like, everything I do kind of hurts. So I don't want to get up to cook, and I definitely don't want to go do groceries because that's not gonna be a fun trip. I decided maybe it wasn't the best idea to be alone in an apartment all by myself, far away from anyone who could help me. So I went to my parents' house that night and stayed there for a couple of days more, and then I went home as soon as I could. But I never regretted leaving the hospital that soon, or like after such a short time, because it was a terrible fucking time. I remember the first meal I had after waking up from surgery that actually really set the bar super high, and I thought, oh wow, this is actually gonna be really nice. Because when I had just woken up and they were like, are you hungry? I'm like, yeah. I had just come out of like a 8-10 hour surgery. I hadn't eaten in a while and my body was trying to knit together some major wounds. Like, I was hungry. I was like, yeah, I'm hungry. And they asked me, what do you want to eat? I'm like, huh, that's a weirdly open question. Like, there's room for lots. So I was just like, I would like some fries. Sure. And then they went off and got me some fries, and it was fucking delicious fries. But I didn't expect they would actually get me what I asked for, because I thought there was some like restrictions or limited menu or whatever. But they just went and got me some fries. That was cool. So that kind of set the bar up for like, oh, I just ask for food and then they bring it. That's cool. So the morning after, like I woke up quite early. I don't really sleep that well and I don't sleep long. So I was up really early and I was hungry because all I had was some fries. It's not really a proper meal, if we're being honest. So I called the nurse and asked if I could have some more food. And then she just looked at me like I was the biggest idiot on the planet. Like, but it's not even breakfast time yet. And like, okay, but I'm hungry. Like, can you get me something? And she was like, I don't know. I'll go see. And then like that was a very different like interaction. And then she came back like 10 minutes later with like the driest piece of bread in my life, and that was it. Just one piece of dried bread that I have no fucking clue where she found, but that was all she could scrounge up. I'm like, okay, that's great, but I guess it's better than nothing. So I ate it. The fuck is this? Yeah. And then from there, the food was just a huge downward spiral. Like, it just got worse and worse.